Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I thought I'd do something that I have not done for quite a while. Most of the people that watch this channel, according to my analytics here on YouTube, live in the Northern Hemisphere, and they are just about to go into the cooler seasons of autumn and winter, whereas I have just, well, it looks like I'm still in it, but I'm emerging from winter here in Melbourne. So what I thought I'd do is actually just quickly go through some of my most worn perfumes in the colder seasons. So I'm not going to be specific about autumn and winter. Just really want to talk about what I have worn the most. I mean, I don't wear one particular perfume a hell of a lot. But just going through my scent of the day that I record regularly on things like Fragrantica and Base Notes, I can see what I've worn, and there's a couple that won't be a surprise to anyone who watches me regularly. But there's a few here that I was a little bit surprised at how much I wore, and also one of them is a sample that I've recently finished, but I don't have a bottle of, and I would probably like a bottle of at some point when I can find it maybe a little bit cheaper and more easily available here in Australia. But let me get started. I'm going to go through the ones that aren't a surprise. So this first one is none other than, if we can get that in focus, 1740 Histoire de Parfum. No surprise, it's one of my all-time favorite perfumes. And what I'll do is, if I've got a review of any of these perfumes, I will put a link up in the corner, and then you can watch it at any time you like. 1740 by Histoire de Parfum. The other one that is one of my all-time favorites as well, sadly it appears to be discontinued, is Absolu pour le Soir by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. And this camera is just not focusing today. One of the few perfumes that uses honey as a dominant note that I really, really love. It's very difficult for me to find other perfumes that use honey in a way that I really enjoy wearing. But this, I mean, there's more to it than that, but obviously this is a big love for me. Another one that I have a review on is from Parfum d'Empire. This is Musc Tonkan. This concentration here is Extrait de Parfum. This is just, I have to admit, the very first time I smelled this, because I bought, this was a blind buy, and when I did smell it for the first time, my immediate reaction was, oh, I think I might have made a mistake here. I think it was only because, to be honest, I was expecting it to be a bit more dirtier or animalic. And there is no doubt that there is a dominant musk accord here. But what I was surprised about was how intermingled it was with this bunch of florals. And to me, it's mainly a jasmine that I can smell. Then probably other things there. But each time I wore this, and it's testament to the fact that I wore this quite often during the winter. I fell a little bit more in love with it each time. Now it's become one of my favorite perfumes, definitely from the house itself. It's like it's right up there with Ombre Russe for me as favorites from this house. And that's my face every time I sniff it. So that's Musc Tonkan from Parfum d'Empire. The fourth one that I'll talk about is also one that I bought last year, so it hasn't been in my collection for very long. And this one is probably, from a colder season point of view, one of the ones that stand out from this group of perfumes, in that I consider this perfume to be perfect all year round, including hot weather. This is 1962 from Floris London. Now, I have also heard rumours about this one being discontinued. I don't know if that's been confirmed by Floris or not, but I'm so glad I got it. Again, there is a review for this one here, so I won't go too much, but this definitely has fresher aspects compared to the three that I've already mentioned. It's woody, it's aromatic, cypress, a dominant basil note as well. I think there might be mint, but it's definitely a green, woody, aromatic fragrance. For reference, and I mentioned this in the review, there is similarities with Tom Ford's Italian Cypress in this one, but for me, this one is better, has a nicer dry down. 1962 from Floris London, good and cold, warm, hot, freezing. It just works. And also, I will say this one, this is a type of perfume that also changes a bit depending on the weather. It just kind of adapts to the environment and the climate as well. So the last one that I want to talk about for this video, and that I wore all through winter. Now, I only had a small sample of this, but I drained it very quickly. So there have been a few Serge Lutens perfumes that I've been very keen on trying over time, and I was lucky enough to get samples of things like Musc Kubla Khan. I also have a sample of Sarathan, and what was the other one that I was trying? Now just Borneo 1834, and the other one was Fumerie Turque. That one there is the fifth perfume that I'm mentioning here, because out of all of those that I've mentioned, that was the one that I was kind of least interested in smelling. But again, we go back to this genre of honeyed tobacco, spicy perfumes. That is a genre of perfumes that I used to like a lot more than I do today. But having smelled Fumerie Turque now, I actually would love to own a bottle of this one, and it is by far, for me, in my opinion, the best sweet tobacco-based perfume that I have smelled. And I've smelled a lot of them, a lot of the popular ones that are on the market. Only problem is that it is now in the newer Gratte de Ciel bottles, the tall black bottles, which I'll put up on the screen. And with that, I think came a price rise. So at the moment, they're a little bit more expensive than I'd like in a perfume, so it's just sort of holding me back to purchasing. Not to mention as well that there's no retailer in Australia that stocks that particular perfume anyway. And at the moment, it also looks like if I wanted to, there's nowhere I can order it from overseas that is shipping to Australia. But you know, if it's still around, and eventually it'll come to me, I'm sure. And if I get to Paris next year, like I plan to, then I'll just buy it there. So they're the 5 perfumes that I really enjoyed over the winter and autumn here in Melbourne. And you know, hopefully for some of you, there might be a couple there that you'd want to try. Unfortunately, I've mentioned a couple that are probably more difficult to get now. But yeah, let me know what your favorites are for the colder seasons. Like I said, I want to, you know, here in Melbourne, in particular, once you hit the cooler, once you hit maybe April, May, June, autumn is the same as winter, you know, like basically temperatures are pretty consistent all through the cold months into October, you know, well into September as well, and then things start warming up. So we don't really, I don't find that we really have a defined autumn and spring here in Melbourne. It either will get hot and then get cold, and you'll get everything in between in a day sometimes. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's just a little bit of fun. I haven't done a most worn for a while, and I'll see you all soon. So see you later.